Welcome back, candidates, for the on the second day and second session. I again welcome Jitendra sir. For today's session, Dr. Ramu Dubey will host this session, will chair this session. So in case of any queries, you can post the queries on the chat box, or you can directly privately send to Dr. Ramu Dubey sir. He is the co-host now in the meeting. Yes, Dr. Ramu Dubey sir, you can proceed.
Okay. I, Dr. Ramadube, welcome you again in the second session of the lecture of Dr. Jitendra Singh. I know that you are getting benefited by the lecture. Dr. Jitendra Singh is enlightening you participants about MATLAB. Now continuing this stream of knowledge, I request Dr. Jitendra Singh to enrich, enlighten and enhance the knowledge of participants. Sir, please.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Suraj also. So as I received this information that some of you have seen that the speed the lecture was a little bit in hurry. So I would like to ask all of you to just put your queries in the chat box before we proceed further. I would like to answer your queries first, so that we can step by step we can proceed. Yes, please. So Dr. Dubey, please you can just see the comments and let me know if somebody has put any comment.
Okay, sir.
I think Dr. Jitendra, you can start by difference between star and dot star.
Okay, so no problem.
Yeah.
So I can start.
Yes, sir.
Just first, I would like to share this desktop. Dr. Suraj, I am not able to see the desktop option here.
Okay, sir.
We have only a screen here, screen, MATLAB, and then nothing more than that.
Okay,
But
sir. So maybe in my case, I can see the option of desktop. Maybe I'm the host. So you need to then sir, club that command window and MATLAB window in a single file by using that doc command.
Oh, okay. I can dock them in
Yeah.
between. Okay, so
Yes,
no
sir.
problem. Yes. So let's see. Just
Yes, sir. It's visible now.
is it visible
Yes,
now?
sir. Yes, sir.
Fine. So I can dock this. So I think now that the editor window is also visible.
Yes, sir. Both windows are visible. Your board is visible, and even that MATLAB is visible.
Yeah, that's fine now. So, but we are not using editor till now. We haven't used it, and for some time we will not use editor. So first come again to this one command window. Yes, so we can just repeat few things. I introduced to you some array commands. So let us try to understand the array commands once more. Array operations. So we have one side we have array operation, one side we have the arithmetic operation, right? Arithmetic operations. So I should say basic arithmetic operations, right? Basic arithmetic operations. So we have plus, minus, then star, and then division, and then exponentiation, right? So in array operations we have plus and minus as it is, then dot star operation for multiplication point wise, and dot slash for this one division, and then dot raised power for exponentiation. So if I have a number here x equal to 2, so I can just write here. So see, on single numbers, array operation restricted to numbers is same as the as these ones. Okay, so restriction of array operation to to the numbers are the precisely basic arithmetic operations. So it makes array operation make sense when the size of the array is at least 2. Okay, so suppose I can define a row vector. So x1, say, and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. Say this is just an array of numbers, and it's always entered within square brackets, right? So when you enter x equal to this one, so this is something like array, and you cannot have an arithmetic operation of multiplication on this array. If you want to find out, say if you write x raised to power 2 in MATLAB, if you type x raised to 2 in MATLAB, then then it will not evaluate x square, because x square is not defined in basic arithmetic operations. So but in array operation, so it is pointwise. So how it will evaluate x? So if you want to evaluate x dot, maybe dot raised to star x, if you want to define x dot star x, then it will be equal to, it will multiply the corresponding entries. So it will be 1 multiplied by 1, and then 2 multiplied by 2, and so on and so on, right? Something like this. So this is the array operation, that if you have x like this, and if you want to find out x dot star x, then it would mean that multiply 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3, 4 by 4, 5 by 5. So correspondingly you multiply. So array operation is correspondingly you operate. Correspondingly we operate, right? So this is the meaning of array operation. And this is how it is different from the binary operation. So array operation, so this all binary operations are now array operations, but array operations need not be the binary operation, right? So when you restrict array operation to singleton, an array of length 1, then the array operation will be exactly same as the arithmetic operation. Okay, and then the third one is matrix operations. So we have 3 type of operations here: basic arithmetic operations, and then matrix operations, and then array operations, right? So if you want to have use the binary operation, so look at this. If you use x star x for x, then what it will produce? If x is array, and if you use x star x, still you want to use x star x here, it will produce something else here. So let's see. Check out. So x is equal to, this is equal to, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So you enter x like this. This is a row vector. You can just check out. This is a row vector. So what is x star x? Check out. So look at this. It doesn't work. X star x doesn't work, right? Because when you write x star x, then it will treat x as a matrix. So when you want to apply the binary operation on x, the arithmetic operation on x, then MATLAB will understand that this is a matrix actually. And x star x is not defined unless x is a square matrix. So here x is just a row matrix of size 5. So therefore x star x is not defined. So it will produce an error, right? So this will not work in MATLAB. But on the other hand, if you want square of these numbers, then you can just type this command, x dot star x itself. So it will produce corresponding multiplication, elements multiplied correspondingly. So first element will be multiplied by first one. So in other words, so if I denote ith element of x, so it will be nothing but, so it will be ith element of x multiply, so we will multiply this with ith element of x, right? And then correspondingly we will write, this is a row vector where ith element is being multiplied by ith element. So mathematically, if you want to understand this array operation, so what is the array operation of matrices? So if you have two matrices of same size, say m by n matrices, so what is the meaning of array operation? If you have, suppose capital A is equal to aij of order m cross n, and suppose B is also equal to, say, Vij of order m cross n, then what is the meaning of A dot star B? So this will be another matrix of same size. That will be Aij star Bij of order m cross n. All right. So correspondingly, you are multiplying the matrix elements. So this is how this is the difference between the ordinary operation, and if you want to multiply, so A star B will not exist here. If you multiply these two matrices, you cannot multiply because size is so number of column in the first one should be equal to the number of the condition for multiplication. So that is not met here unless m is equal to n, right? So this way you can try to differentiate between the binary operation and the array operation, right? Binary means I mean here arithmetic operation, basic arithmetic operation, right? So you can experiment with this now. So you have maybe you take x to be equal to say number. First of all, I take x to be only and y to be again say I'm taking this to be say 2 and 3. So size of y is different and size of x is different, right? So x is this one and y is this one. So you can just talk about x star y for the time being. So what is the meaning of x star y? Just check it. So if x is just a 1 cross, so x is just a number, then x star y will work because x becomes a scalar. So you have the concept of vector spaces with you. So MATLAB automatically understands. So if x is equal to say 2 and y is equal to say 1,2, then x star y is defined. So then MATLAB treats x as scalar and y as vector. So you multiply x, y, so it will be now 2 star 1 and 2 star 2. So here it will work. And look at the second command. So x dot raised to power x dot star y. What happens to the array command? If you look at the array command, so what happens? Same thing will appear here. So whenever you work with one of the scalars, so it will treat it as a scalar. So if you take x equal to 2 and x dot star y, if you evaluate, this comes out to be the same. So this is 2 star 1 and 2 star 2. So other arrays do not have this type of luxury. So only the scalars will have this thing with us. Or there are under some conditions you can go ahead with other arrays also, but in general these types of things are not same unless one of them is a scalar. And the second thing is interactive programming in any package depends upon what we are supposed to do. So why do we need, this is the main question which all of you should just try to understand. Why do we need these array operations? Okay, this is the major question which should come to everybody's mind. And why we are emphasizing these operations? In fact, MATLAB is all about these array operations. So certainly, these array operations make things simple. So for example, so let me take you mathematical examples of why we need them, right? So you want to plot. So if I want to, so find the graph. So find the graph of the function, or draw the graph of the function f of x equal to say 4x square, right? So all of us know that this is a parabola, right, where x lies between, say, x belongs to the closed interval, say -2 to 2, right? We want to find out the graph of this function. The idea of drawing the graph you already know, but in MATLAB, in single strike, you can do this. So, and that will be using the array command. So if you don't want to use array command, so let me compare the two things. So first thing is x is between -2 and 2. So you can do it in two ways. One thing is you can use the little bit of MATLAB programming. So for that purpose, you can just start with for command. So you can just start it with this one, this way, for, you know, x equal to, for x equal to, start from -2, then step size, say a 0.1, and then you can end at 2. This is a row vector of steps, equally spaced row vector, right? -2 to 2. You can define here y, right? So y, and you can just before this you can just start a counter here. Before this you can insert a command, maybe c equal to 1. Start with c equal to 1, and you need to okay, so you can just initiate the y vector. So you can define y to be equal to just let me write it all this again precisely. Just hold on. So I can start with this command, right? C equal to 1 I can define, and then I can take y to be equal to zeros. You can define zeros, ZEROs, right? Zeros, a row vector I want to define. How many zeros? I want length of x. So x I have defined here. So you can just, no need to do this one. Wait, hold on. I can just directly define for, after this command, after entering c equal to 1, for x equal to -2 colon 0.1, again colon, and then 2. This is a row vector. I want to define now y of c to be equal to, y of c is equal to 4 times 4 4 star x raised to power 2. This will define our y at the corresponding x here, and I can define x at x1 at c to be equal to x, and after that I can define now, take c to be equal to c plus 1, so that just hold on, this is just a loop. Yes, please. Yes.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sorry for disturbance, sir.
Yeah, it's
Sir,
okay.
sir, there are some queries from participants, sir.
Yes,
Two
yes.
or three queries, sir.
Yes.
So first is, how can we multiply two polynomials algebraically?
How we can multiply two polynomials
Algebraically.
algebraically?
Yeah.
So is it symbolically or numerically? Just this is not clear to me. If it is symbolically, then since we are not discussing symbols here, it's quite easy to do this symbolically. So you have SYMS command. You can just define symbols, and accordingly you can enter your polynomial as it is. Okay, f and g, you can enter polynomial as it is. You can just type this command SYMS. Okay, same. You can define x, and then you can define f1, and you can define f2, right? Or maybe only x right now. Only one symbol you need. You can now define then f1 to be equal to, in next command you can just write f1 to be equal to, say, whatever polynomial you want to take, maybe 2x2 plus 3 star x, one polynomial, and then you can enter f2 to be equal to 3 plus 4 star x plus 5x star x raised to power 2, and then fifth one you can now multiply f1 star f2. So everything you will get in terms of symbols. So you can algebraically you can get everything like this. But the thing is, you have to do something else now, symbols. So where symbolical algebra is something different now here. Okay, so but we are trying to learn numerical algebra here. So symbolically, many places are not difficult. So they can straightforward, they can be dealt with like this. And if you are asking about the numerical multiplication of f1 and f2, then you will have to wait a little bit more. Then you will have to wait a little bit more. Then numerically, or maybe you can you have to wait for the definition of a function in MATLAB. When we will deal with functions in MATLAB and we will have MATLAB programming, then we will learn about how to numerically evaluate multiplication of two polynomials. I hope this answers.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, next is, why would not EX start to work in the array case?
Why not?
Why would not x dot star 2 work in this array case?
Which dot? X dot?
X dot star 2
X dot star 2
to
in which,
work in this array case.
sir, kindly can you please repeat it once more? I'm really
Why would not x dot star 2 work in this array case?
in this
In this array case, A-R-R-A-Y.
array case. Which array case one is talking about? I do not.
Yeah.
So in this one, I don't know which example is being referred to by the candidate. If I would like, if I come to know that if he is talking about one is talking about this one, so here I am not using, I'm just trying to make two programs, one not using array, other one I will use array. So here I'm not using array operation. So I would just want to show by this example that if you do not use array commands, then you will have difficulties, and if you use array commands, then this program will become very, very simple. So this is the nice thing about arrays, which I would demonstrate to you. Just please wait for a minute or so. Next
question is, be kind to tell the difference among editor script and live script in the MATLAB.
So we are not I hope that our participants will have a little patience, because I'm not introduced to you editor anymore yet. So it will be done when we will introduce these things. Okay, so please don't worry about it. Right now we are learning only commands on command window. So this question will be answered when we will deal with the editor MATLAB. So MATLAB has so many components. So we can learn only a few of them. So one by one we will. So introducing other windows at this moment, I think it will create unnecessarily more confusion among the participants. So I hope that they will understand this thing. Next.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Question is over, sir.
Okay, so,
thank you, sir. Please continue.
Yeah, welcome. So
yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So please concentrate on this one. So I have just written a program for you. So this program uses the for loop. So though I have not introduced the for loop with you, so this is a good time to introduce the for loop as well. So the meaning of the logical statement for x equal to x ranging from -2 with a step size of 0.1 to 2. I have defined c equal to 1 first of all, and then y at c equal to, that means initially when x will be equal to -2, for loop for loop begins at -2 and ends at 2. So when x is equal to -2 at the very beginning, c is equal to 1. So y of 1, it will tell us, it will evaluate y of 1 first of all, right? So y of 1 means first element of the array y. So this is how you enter the array element. Suppose I have matrix A to be equal to 1, 2, 3. Then A1 will produce its first entry. A2 will produce its second entry, right? This is how we call the corresponding elements of an array. So if you have matrix MYN matrix, then Aij would be equal to the matrix A in braces I jth entry. This is how you write. Okay. Similarly, if you have a 3-dimensional array, then IJK, right? So arrays are not restricted to matrices. Array can be any dimension, right? So this is how you call the elements of an array. So please note down this command. Y1 would mean that the first entry of the row vector y, or row array, this array y, right? So y1 will evaluate 4 star. What is x at the moment? -2. -2 raised to power 2. This will evaluate this one, and in the next part, x1 at 1 will be equal to x. Value of x is -2, and then c will become suddenly c plus 1. Initially c was 1. So now so I'm updating the value of c now. Left hand c is a variable now, and right hand c is actually 1 at this moment. So it will become 2 here. So this 2 will become, and this loop will come back to the next value of x. Next value of x will be now -2 plus the step size 0.1. So now next value of x will be updated. Then accordingly, now since c is now c plus 1, c is 2 now, so y2, it will evaluate y2. So y2 will be next value of x. then x1 at next value of x, next value of c will be, so x1 at 2 will be, so this will evaluate the second row. This will store our value of y at second place, and then c will again become c plus 1. Now c will become 3, and the loop will go on. All right, so this way the loop will go on, and this is a complicated way of obtaining the corresponding function values. Function values are stored in vector y, and the point values x is stored in x1 values, right? But this was just without using the array operation. So now if we use the array operation, so we have a simple program here. So using now using array operation. If you use array operation instead, you wanted correspondingly the values of 4x square. So you have x is equal to, we define x as an array, -2, 0.1, and then 2. This is a row vector, and straightforward put y equal to x dot raised to power 2, or sorry, into 4. 4 is also there. 4 star x raised to power 2. So now you have immediately and define a vector a to be equal to, so you can define matrix A to be equal to, composed of, first column is x, other one is y, so you can just club them together. But I don't want to mess up with more commands. Just this one is sufficient. Our aim was to evaluate y corresponding. So once you have x with you as an array, you have y also with you as an array. So look at this. Compare this program. This is without using array operation, and this is now using array operation. So you can compare these two now. So which one is better? So using array operation is straightforward. So it depends. Array operations are useful when we want to work with a lot many points together, and this is what usually happens in programming as well as in mathematics. For example, if you want to integrate, another example I would like to have is the following. Just to give you some examples. Don't worry if you don't understand this. You need not to worry, because these are just to demonstrate, to justify that why we need array operations. So another example could be this one. Integrate from 0 to 1, say 1 over 1 plus x square dx. If we want to integrate a function like this from 0 to 1 numerically, then what do you need? You numerically, you use either Simpson rule or trapezoidal rule or something like that, right? If you use the trapezoidal rule, so what do you have? How many numbers are there if you want to use a trapezoidal rule? So you have to deal with many numbers now. So you have the limit of some formula. So you can have h, something like h and number of points. So you have h is equal to b minus a over number of points you are considering, right? And then what you do, you have a sum with you. What is that sum? Sum is what is that sum? That sum is nothing but that is equal to hy2, perhaps in trapezoidal rule, hy2 into f of a plus f of a plus h plus so on up to plus f of a plus nh or n minus 1h, depends upon you, so it doesn't matter. So right, so this is the limit of some formula. If you take its limit h tending to 0, then you get the exact answer, but you can approximate them. Take h small enough so that you can approximate the integral. So your integral is approximately equal to this much, right? But if you use the trapezoidal formula, then you can just you have little different 2 times from here till the second last term, and then first and last terms are added as it is. So and then here also things will change, right? hy3 or something. So, but I just simple limit of some formula you can utilize. But the importance of array operations appears here. You can see now, if you have a vector, equi-space vector with this number of points, and then you have x equal to a plus h and up to so on a plus n h. X is of sort of this form, right? And then you can evaluate f of x, because f of x expression is with you. You can change y to be equal to something like this here and evaluate. So in one strike you will be and use the array operation of division. So in one strike you are able to evaluate y out of x, and then third command would be just sum up. Just use the sum command on y. When you use the sum command, it will add up all these things together. So immediately you are able to discover and multiply then by hy2, you will get the corresponding approximate integral without using any loop. So array operations are helpful to avoid loops, right? And whenever you are dealing with a loop, that means your program is running that many number of times, right? So I hope now that this thing is crystal clear that array operations are going to be very, very useful as far as MATLAB programming is concerned, and with emphasis on mathematical calculations. As far as mathematical calculations are concerned, array operations are going to be more useful. So these examples were just, so we will come back to these examples once more when we will learn the MATLAB programming and editor window, and then I will introduce to you editor window as well. So, but till then, a little bit more you have to wait for. Okay, so I hope that you have understood this this command, dot star. Now, what about dot raised to power? The same thing you can go ahead with. Then after dot division, and then subtraction and addition are as usual. So let us have examples, mathematical examples, more examples, so that we can justify these things. So if you have any question till now, you can ask me.
Yes, sir. The question is, sir, what will be the difference between functioning of x dot star x and x dot to
X dot
the
star
power
x
2 in the array?
and x dot star x. Sorry, sir. Actually,
X
voice
dot
star x
And x dot cap 2.
to the power
x dot
cap 2, simple. Cap
they're
2.
same.
Yeah.
They are same.
Difference between.
So they are same here.
Okay,
So
thank you,
x dot star x is point-wise, and x dot raised to power 2 is also point-wise. They are same here. Okay, they're not different.
Okay.
They are same
Thank you,
here.
sir. Okay,
Any
sir.
other question? Any other question? If you please, also I encourage all of the participants to ask questions in chat box. So this discussion is should be totally informal. No, I don't want a formal discussion.
Yeah. Sir, next question is, if we write dot forward slash or dot backward slash?
That x dot forward or backslash, right?
Yes, sir.
This means division. This means division,
Yes, sir.
right? And this means something else. This means we are taking the inverse of, so when you write xy, this is same as x inverse y. So matrix, so it is some sort of matrix command here. Okay, x inverse star y. So xy algebraic inverse of x. X backslash y means x algebraic inverse multiplied by y. So now algebraic inverse means that whether we are dealing with matrices or we are dealing with other sort of algebraic system, and accordingly it will evaluate. So backslash would mean algebraic inverse of the first one into multiplied by the algebraic product. This star will be the algebraic product corresponding. Next question, please.
Sir, next question is, some reference book on applied mathematics and MATLAB and scientific computing with MATLAB.
So there are actually many books. It's very difficult to let you know about one of them, because every day we have not many books on MATLAB. But there is a book by just let me check out the name here. Deep Think, which I follow actually. So numerical methods using MATLAB. Numerical methods using MATLAB. This is by Matthews. So J-H, this one Matthews, and A.D. Fink. But this book is not for beginners. For beginners, I can suggest another one. So the standard book by Rudra Pratap. So getting started with MATLAB. Second book is, this is first one, and the second one is by Getting Started with MATLAB. This is by Rudra Pratap. I think it's with Oxford University Press. And the earlier one is with earlier one is with Pearson. So these two books I will recommend. But this is I mean, since many of you are beginners in MATLAB, so getting started with MATLAB is the best option. So you can just go through this book, and side by side you can follow the commands. I think that within few days one will be able to learn this MATLAB just by following this book over there. So in fact, when I started learning MATLAB, I started with this book. Next question.
Sir, please continue your lecture, sir.
Yeah, okay, fine.
No question. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so so now it is the time to introduce to you the editor also. So we have if you are able to see the screen, you can see this one blue line, this blue header. So written there editor. So this second window is of the editor, and if it is not available in your MATLAB, so you can just open a new file. So if you go here and open up a new file, it will come up. So editor will open up. Okay. So first window which we have learned till now was the command window. It is already clearly written on the top of the header of the corresponding window. Command window, it is command window, and it is editor window, right? So editor window is the one where you can save your data. So you can write MATLAB programs. So just for beginning, we just started with the command window. Now, if you want to store your programs for the later reference, right? So then you have to save them. So to save, you better to open up such files. So such files, which we open up in editor, they are called as. So there are several kind of files here. The first type of file which I will introduce to you are the M files. So we call them. So we're going to learn MATLAB editor. MATLAB editor. Right. So editor window, so there will be no sign like this. So command window, we have something like this, but in editor, this nothing like this. Okay. So editor is something like, when you deal with Word files, so you open a Word file the same way. So here also you can open up a file. Another thing is, in editor we have several kind of files. So we have mainly two type of files we can have with editor. One is the function file, and other one is the script file. Function file. Other one is the script file. Script file. Right. So we have to write few rules to operate with these things. So first I will introduce to you the script file. So the script file. So script file are those where, so how they are saved. They are so extension name is so you can just extension name, you can utilize this one .m. So .m files. Okay, extension name is, so extension the end with the extension .m, right? So if you want to save a file, so there are certain rules that what kind of numerals you should add up while naming a file. Those things you can utilize. Look at here, another window I would like to introduce to you at this moment. The right upper right corner. So here, this is the help. This is the regarding the help. Okay, so you can just or maybe you can directly type on command window. You have two choices. Either you can manually search something. So if you want to search about script files, you can just script files, right? So it will tell you about all rules about script files. Okay, so you can just search it out, like you search in Google, you can search in MATLAB also, right? So these practices you can just proceed with. So a window will open up where it will explain everything about script files, right? So I will not go into detail of this, but you can just experiment with this if you want to search out something. Sometimes we forget. It is very difficult to memorize all the MATLAB commands, and so for that purpose, you can look for the documentation here, that for which purpose, what kind of commands are being used. So we also take the help of this helper window here. So this will be this is going to be useful for everyone. And alternatively, if you are not able to locate this, you can just help this one. So you can take the help. But the problem is that you should know exactly about what you want here, help. So if the keyword is there, maybe if I want to help regarding how to obtain determinant of a matrix, I can just write help det space det and enter it. So let's see what happens. So it will search for the help about all this. So it is giving us some certain links, right? So you can just enter these links and you can just see this this whole of the help. So many things are given. So whole of the information and commands about this are being provided by the MATLAB built-in help, right? Similarly, for if you want to name a file, you can just try to search out a keyword. If you want a keyword keyword search, and then documentation. And if you are exactly sure about some MATLAB command, then you can take the help from the command window itself. Now you can save this file in the same way as you save the Word files. Control S. You can just save a Control S, and some window will open up. You can save on the desktop with some name. Okay, so you can just name it as maybe maybe MATLAB. So maybe session 1 or session 2 command, right? Session 2, I'm saving it with the name session2.m file. So it will automatically ask you .m file or something else, right? So .m file, you can save it. So this is the script file which we have saved right now. Okay. Now whatever calculations you did on command window earlier, all those calculations can be performed in this script file. But the thing is, you will have to run this file. So you have a run option. Either you should use the to run a script file, one can use this one, either manually. So you can use you can just use F5. You can use when you can insert this F5, or you can just run it within the there is a green play button here. Okay, so which you can run, right? So when you run it, the answer will appear according to your program, right? So, and when you run it, it will ask for the path. MATLAB will ask for the path. So you will have to change the path accordingly where the file is situated, right? So it will automatically change the path. So path has in my desktop, the path, since the file has been saved at desktop, so path has changed to desktop now. Okay. So nothing, no output. Session 2 has been run here, but no output. The reason is because I haven't written any program in. It's a blank file right now. Okay. So let us now write a program. Maybe if you want to plot something, then how you will proceed. So you have, so suppose you want to, so question. So first of all, write a comment here. So comment is written using this percentage command here. Whatever you will write after percentage will not be run by, MATLAB will not read that. Okay. So if you, so I will write a question here. What is the question we want to answer? Plot a circle. Okay, if I want to write a program to plot a circle, so how I will proceed? So one by one I will write. So I will write x to be, first of all, t equal to linear space. How many points we want? Accordingly, we will write linear space between 0 and 1, and maybe 100 points. Okay, and then after I can write x to be equal to cos of, I hope it is visible, cos of 2 star pi star t. This is our row vector x, and then y will be equal to, maybe I can insert here parameter r also, r star, and then r star sine of 2 star pi star t here, this is our y vector, and then finally we will have the plot command, plot x comma y. Remember how MATLAB starts reading a program. MATLAB starts from the very first line. So line number is appearing here in the left of the script file. So very first line it starts with. So it will read complete first line. So there is nothing in the first line for MATLAB because first line is commented. So MATLAB will proceed to the second line. Okay. So MATLAB will proceed to the second line. Whatever has been written on the second line, MATLAB will read with that first. So MATLAB understands that. So t is a variable which has been assigned this value, line space, linear space 0, 1, 100 points. So it will produce a row vector, right? Row vector from with starting point 0 and point 1 and step size 1 by 100, right? Then after that, and I'm ending this pressing calculation, this calculation, because I do not need t explicitly. Then defining x to be, so this is from mathematics. From mathematics we know that circle is r cos theta, r sin theta. So it will evaluate now second, third line. When MATLAB will read out third line from left to right, so x has been assigned, right hand side r will appear. But you look at this program, r has not been written anywhere. So it will produce error, and MATLAB will, this program will end here. It will break and it will produce an error that r has not been defined. So I will have to define r, right? So you can define, either you can ask for input command, input the, this is the command which you should use. Maybe provide the value of r, provide the value, or you can directly put the value of r. So if you want, provide the value. There are so many things to be done. Value of r, right? So you can just like you can write it, and then after this we have this one. This one. So first MATLAB will ask for the value of r. Once r has been assigned a value, then after x will be evaluated accordingly, and y will also be evaluated accordingly. Next line, and then to the next line. So remember always that. So this is the rule of MATLAB programming, that the program steps should be written in the correct sequence. Okay, the steps. So this is information about script files. The steps of the programs, in MATLAB should be written in a correct sequence. Correct sequence means that it should not happen that a variable should not appear in the right hand side. A variable should appear in the right hand side only if some value has been assigned to it, right? Always we have to remember it. So if you write the value of r after this command, then it will not work. So let us run this program first and see what happens. So I'm running it. So let's see what happens. So look at the command window. When you run a file, script file, so whatever has been asked will appear in the, so when you use the input command, look at this. So the same text. So this is the string within single quotes. So this string will appear as it is. Provide the value of r. Once you write the value of r, suppose I write the value of r to be 2, right? And then enter it. Then the further it will run. So are you able to see the window? I don't know, because I think you are not able to see this figure file here. Maybe I can dock it so that, but I don't know. Yeah, it can be docked. So, but it looks like an ellipse here. When you just see the, I mean, if you want to see it, so you can just make the axis equal so that it will become circular. Okay, accordingly it will become circle. So if you just keep on making the these axis equal, accordingly it will become. So you can see now it will become like a circle. So you can make it circle. Okay, so but it does not appear like a circle right now because of the unequal this one's axis. So this is how you can. So now the best thing is that now you have saved your program in the session2.m file, and you can run it according to your convenience, whatever. And now you can add few more things to it. So rather than inserting input here every time it asks for you, so you can just manually you can put the value of R. So I'm commenting this thing. You can comment it, and you can now specify the value of R. Maybe you can take R2 equal to 2 as it is and press it. So again, so now the MATLAB, the command window will not, nothing will appear on the command window except for this file. So you can now see, if you run it, F5 once more, look at this. So again, the figure file will appear. You can just experiment with this. I can wait for 2-3 minutes. Those who have MATLAB with you, they can experiment. They can just write this program as it is and experiment with this. Just have the feeling that you are able to see the graph of the circle, and others can ask questions. So I will wait for 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, we will start again. Dr. Dubey?
Yes, sir.
Oh, so can you please proceed for can you see the questions? Please let me know if somebody has asked a question.
Sir, okay, wait. Let me check the chat box. Ramu sir.
हेलो, हाँ साउंड आ रही है, डिस्टर्ब हो गया था। हाँ सर, हेलो।
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Hello.
please ask the questions.
सर क्वेश्चन, कोई क्वेश्चन तो नहीं है, बेसिकली ये थी बुक्स ऑन ऑप्टिमाइजेशन विद मैटलैब।
So books on optimization with MATLAB.
Yes,
I cannot recall any book right now because I have around hundreds of books are available. So you can just Google it. But as it is, I cannot refer any book on optimization with MATLAB because I haven't used any one of these. I have developed my own programs while optimizing using optimization in my work. So I never used any MATLAB book. So I have used MATLAB only for after learning MATLAB I have. So you see, one side you have mathematics with you, other side you have MATLAB with you. Now the problem is MATLAB is just a package which you need to learn. Once you learn MATLAB, then you have to develop your own programs. That is, I think the best thing is develop your own programs up to your convenience. Whatever mathematical things you want to deal with, accordingly you can modify. I mean, you can try to utilize or obtain your own programs. So I cannot suggest because there are so many branches of mathematics. That way I think the hundreds of books would be available, but as such I cannot refer anyone. Yes, please. Next one.
सर नेक्स्ट x cap 2 plus 3 star x minus x cap 2 bracket power 2 cap 2 solved using MATLAB. Is it possible? Please do it in MATLAB.
Sir, I need to write the question. Yes, please.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
X raised to power
cap 2
x
plus 3 star
x cap 2 plus
3 star x minus x cap 2
minus x cap 2
bracket cap 2 whole power 2.
Sir, actually,
Solved using MATLAB. Is it possible? Please do it.
Yeah, Jatendra sir, actually, we no need to answer any particular. Basically, what student wants, I think what the participant want to ask, whether you can solve such kind of equation using MATLAB.
Yes, of course. Why not?
Yeah. So that's the this is the
Yeah,
obviously.
why not? Why not? Yeah, of course, yes.
Yeah.
We can always.
So I think we can discuss about how to solve the equation involving single variable in the next.
Yeah, I have you have you can define SYMS, no? So you can
yeah. In SYMS
deal with that. Symbolical manipulations toolbox is available in MATLAB, no? So that way I think
Yes.
one can proceed for the purpose of holding. I mean, my lectures is basically this is emphasis on numerical evaluations. Because symbolical, why I am not referring MATLAB to symbolical manipulation, I think I will have to convey this message to the participants that there are, so whenever we use a package, our usage depends upon the emphasis. Okay, so there are so many packages available. We have Python with us, we have MATLAB with us, we have Mathematica with us, right? Other programs are programming, such kind of mathematical programming packages are available. So for my purpose, if you ask me, for symbolical manipulations, I do not use MATLAB. Let me tell you frankly. Because for symbolical manipulations, for me, better choice is Mathematica. I use Mathematica for dealing with symbolical manipulations. So if somebody is interested in algebraic considerations, then we have not only Mathematica, we have more packages. You have a GAP with you these days, GAP, right? That is the best package for algebraists. Those who want to deal with algebraic structures like sequences of groups or rings or fields or something like that, they should not use MATLAB or Mathematica. They should go for GAP. So therefore, and if you want to utilize, if you want to do numerical linear algebra, advanced linear algebra, then you have another package with you. So packages are accordingly designed. But if you are here to learn MATLAB programming means you can learn everything afterwards. Once you learn programming, you can program linear algebra, you can program group theory, you can program anything you want. So at this moment, I think it depends upon your taste, what kind of things you want to do. Accordingly, you will select your package. Next, please. Next question, please.
Just a minute.
Dr. Suraj, can I come to know that?
Will it work?
Sorry, Jatendra sir, what you were saying?
Can I come to know that some of them are trying to write this program and running it?
Okay, actually, now students are sending now directly questions to Dr. Ramu Dubey sir. Actually, he is hosting the this session.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not getting the questions, and they are not posting to me because
it's
some administrative work right alongside.
Oh, okay, Dr. Dubey.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So please, the next question.
Sir, next question is, will it work? Will MATLAB work if we use double while using variables on right side?
No, unless you specify the value of the variable. No, it will not work. Under certain conditions, it will work. Otherwise, it will not work. So if you write 2 equal to x, and if x is not defined, then it will not work. If you define x to be equal to 3, right? And if you write 2 equal to x, then it will work.
Yeah.
Then it will work. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Then so if you write 2 equal to 3, so MATLAB knows that 2 is not equal to 3. So MATLAB will treat this as a logical statement. So either it will produce 1 or 0. 1 means correct, 0 means incorrect. So 2 is not equal to 3, so MATLAB will produce the answer to be 0. So you can just experiment with these two things. 2 equal to 3, you can put 2 equal to 3. So look at this. This is correcting incorrect use of equality. So if you write x equal to 3 for the time being, define x equal to 3. Now write 2 equal to x. See what happens.
Okay, sir. So please continue your lecture.
Producing error, right? Yeah.
Sir, no,
and you can ask MATLAB if you have conditional statement if you are asking that is 2 equal to 3, then the thing then you have to use the logical operators, right? Double equality sign or something like that. So that I will come to know when we will make programs. Conditional statements. So we haven't dealt with conditional statements yet. So one by one we will proceed.
Okay, sir.
Next question, please.
Thank you,
no
sir.
question?
Sir, No, sir, no question, sir. Please continue lecture, sir.
Yeah, okay, sir. So now let us learn some MATLAB programming. So for this purpose, we need to understand some logical operators. So and some loops also, and the if command. So we have to learn a few things. So some operators, some loops, and operators. Right. Now suppose you have a conditional statement. So we have to start with some examples. So you have a conditional statement. You want to write on. You want to extract all numbers divisible by, say, divisible by 5 from 1 to 100. Okay. So question is extract all numbers from 1 to, say, capital N, divisible by each of which is divisible by, say, 5, right? So we want those numbers. So let us write a program. So how to write a program for this one? So we will use so we will understand all such kind of operators by examples. So first we will understand what we are being asked. So mathematically, what does it mean? We want to find out the set of all those numbers, say x, such that x is congruent to 0 mod 5. That means the remainder of x when divided by 5 should be equal to 0, right? So we will use the for loop. So program will be something like this. So in script file, you will start writing this. Okay, for x from 1 to n, and size is 1 to n. 1 to n means you can just write it as before. So just to avoid confusion, so 1 step size 1 and n here, right? You have, so now you will use the if command. So you need to define, say, remainder r is equal to remainder of x divided by 5, right? This I have command I have already told you. So now r evaluate this one. Now if you will use if command. If r is equal to double equal to, this is a logical operator. When you are asking something, then you will use double equality sign. So remember this operator, double equality, right? So this is a conditional operator. Now r equal to 0. If remainder is 0, then we will have something. Then we will store the answer, right? Then I can define here. I can start from counter, say count 1 equal to, say, 1 here, right? I can start from count 1, so I can define a vector capital X. Okay, count 1 is equal to X, right? So that means X is a vector whose count 1th element is the corresponding X, right? And then you can just what you can do is, then you can change this count 1 to, so you can change now after ending this. So whenever you start a conditional statement, you have to end it. So if ends here, this command ends here, and then after I want to update this counter now, because for second element counter will change. So we change count 1 to count 1 plus 1. So earlier count 1 is not a variable. New variable now is the left hand side, and older number is right. Older number was whatever it would be in the right hand side, right? So it would add up to the previous, so updated value of count 1, right? And then you can just end the for loop. So for loop ends here. So now what you will see by this program, so I am storing my values of those numbers from 1 to n which are being divisible by 5. So the loop will start running from this side. When take x equal to 1, find out the remainder. If remainder for x equal to 1, remainder is not 0, right? So this loop will not work for the very first count 1 equal to 1, right? So count 1, so then it will go ahead, right? So count 1 will become count 1 plus 2. So it will 2 for second counter, so x equal to 2, and with the things with it will first time run if loop will run only when x will be equal to 5 here, right? So at x equal to 5, remainder will become first time 0, and first value will be stored here. And finally, after ending this program, you can just write capital X here, right? Simply capital X. When you write capital X, it will produce the answer, right? Okay. So let me write this program here. I am just writing in the same file, commenting the rest of the things. I will write the next program. So I'm commenting all this. So we will understand via making several programs, simple programs on these things. And it may happen that at the very beginning you may not be able to learn all these things together. Just please have some patience. Let us attempt several of these programs, then you will learn slowly. So right now the emphasis is on learning for loop. X from 1, size 1 up to n, right? So we are defining R to be equal to remainder when X is divided by 5, and then suppress it. Then ask if R is equal to 0, then you have the next command. Then you have capital X. You could have initialized it by defining a counter. Count 1 equal to 1, and then right here count 1 to be equal to X, and then end your if command. Once you end it, then you need to update the counter. Count 1 equal to count 1. Oh, sorry. Equal to count 1. Add 1 to it, right? And then end the for loop again. So this is, and finally you want output for X. So you type X like this. And since now capital N has not been specified, so capital N I can just take it to be through input command input. So value of what is n? Provide n. Okay, so we want the value of n first of all. Once you just save it, you can just run it now, right? So run this program and let's see what happens. So if it produces an error, we will see it. So look at this command window. N will appear. So it asks for the value of n. So value of n, suppose I am providing 100 and enter it. So look at this. So what is the X? So you can see now X is very something like this. So these are the numbers which are given. So other values, so by default, every vector in MATLAB is a 0 vector. Okay. So every vector in MATLAB is a 0 vector. Otherwise, if you want to avoid these, so maybe you would not be happy that all these numbers are scattered right now. So let us make them together. Then what we will do, then we will redefine our counter. Counter is 1. So we will now define just so you can just use the command find command. But anyways, so I don't want to complicate it. Just keep it as it is right now. Later on we will learn that part also. So slowly, because so many commands are there, so we will try to use minimal number of commands in order to deal with all this. So you can see all the numbers which are being displayed by capital X as a vector. So you can just see those vectors, right? Or if you okay, so we can just if you want now square of these numbers, right, which are divisible by 5, you can complicate your program. You can just do so many things with the program. You can plot these numbers with respect to the value of X, right? You can just maybe you can plot the square of these numbers with X. So you can do such kind of calculations. And finally, so the thing regarding okay, so program is there, but the thing is that where to save our output. So I haven't said anything about saving our output till now. So to save our data, suppose you want to save this calculation, all these calculations, right? Then you can save these calculations in another kind of file. So I have told you about one file, script file.m file. Second file which I am going to introduce to you is the .dat file. Second file is within these loops and operators. So I'm introducing to you .dat file, data file. Okay. So dot that file you can save as it is as usual. Open the open here new file, and then you can name it Control S. You can save it at the same directory with maybe data. I'm saving it with data1 file, right? So data1 file, right? So now it is here in the editor. So I want to save output here in this file. So I want to so if r is equal to remainder is 0, I only want, in that case, I want to store the values. So I will store now. The command is use this fid equal to fopen, and the file name is data1, okay, dot dat, right? This is the command which you should use. Then the formatting, there are so many other formatting. So A plus would mean that accordingly the one format is A plus, other formats are W plus, and so on. So see, there are so many formats. So you can just search out in the search bar, search documentation, and then after you can write the fprintf. You can just write the data using the fprintf command. Fid is the name of the file in which you want to write. Okay, so so variable name, right? So here you will specify the format in which you want. Formats are written like this: number of spaces, so length of the space of the data file, and then number of decimal places, say 4 decimal places, right? And then the formatting is floating point numbers, f floating point number. This is the first variable that will, so capital X, so small x will be stored like this. Only one variable we are storing, and then go to the next line. Okay, \n, go to the next line. This command you should use. And here the name of the variable. What is the name of the variable? Small x. So capital X, sorry, this is small x, right? Store small x like this. And then you can close, you can close this after, keep it open like this, and then finally after ending everything, you can f close. You can use the f close command, f close the file fid, right? And f open and then f close fid. Right, so now let's see what happens after running this program. After writing these two commands, you have to memorize these commands. So once we have run this, let's see if any error appears. So no error appears. Now look at the data1 file. Nothing is written there, right? So therefore there is some problem with the formatting here. Okay, so we need to write down the formatting here. So we have to change the formatting. So I have forgotten the command regarding this. So writing formats. So let's find out a plus here, right? So what does it do? So just hold on. Fprint f command. So write data to the text file, right? So fprintf. So we have format specifications here. So what? Just we have these things. So format will depend upon our own what. So whether we want to write in row form or whether we want the data in. So these are all the formats. Percent. Okay, so here are these fprintf, fwrite or fprintf. Just it's there. Yeah, you can use W command. So rather than using this one can use the W command. So here it is. It's not working. So you can use W command here. W. So let us run it again. Let's see what happens. So look at the data file. Nothing is written once again. So there is some problem in the formatting again. So let's try it this way. Just hold on. Yes, yes, Astha.
Okay, I think by mistake Asta has raised her hand, or had she
Oh.
messaged Ramu Dubey, sir? I think by mistake, sir. Otherwise,
Oh, okay, it's okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I think data file was already there. So the file which I'm looking for, it's a M file. So I haven't saved it as a data file. So this was wrongly saved here. But look at the directory here of the folder which I am working. So there is a file with this name, data1.dat. Alternatively, so I think this is a good time to recall this. So to recollect ourselves. So data file, you need to search out like this star.dat, right? Search such files, and so this was already there, but what we were checking in some other file, right? So data is already written there, right? So you can see this now. So all those numbers which are visible by 5 have been written, right? So you can just experiment with this again. So you have this with you. If you want, maybe okay. So if you want n to be different, so suppose now, okay. So just hold on. You run it again, n equal to say 200 if I want. You can just see again. So whether the data is written in the red file or not. So you can see the up to 200 everything has been written, right? So this has been, we just hold on up to 200 only. Just wait a moment. Let me remove everything from out of this. Save it first. Now we can run it. Now let us run it. Okay, so it's already running several times. Just wait. Just wait. Control C. If you want to end up a program, if you want to end a program, okay, suppress a program, so you can just use Control C, right, and run it again. So several times the program was running. That's why the output was something else. Now I'm putting 200 here. Now look at the data file. So okay, so earlier format was correct. That was the A plus. So it will depend. Okay, so W plus is rubbing the previous result, right? So let us use this formatting. So we have to understand this format by a trial and error. So because every time we cannot memorize these many number of commands. So you can just now see that A plus, which I used in the very beginning, is the appropriate format which we wanted. So once more, I can just let you know, session2 file, run it. It will ask for the value of n, that is 200, enter it, and look at the data file. So all the data has been saved now. You can save this way more than one variables. Okay, so sometimes you are interested to say save two column files. So MATLAB will treat this data file this as one column of a matrix or one array. Okay, so when you will load this, so you can load this file back. So what you can do is, after running all this, so you can in command window you can load this file. Load, you can assign a variable, say maybe capital A to be equal to load the file name. Just add here the file name and whole path data1.dat file, right? Once you load it, so you can see now A will become a column vector. You can see now A dash transpose of A dash is transpose of A. You can see this. So for to take transpose, A dash would mean as it is, A dash would mean transpose of capital A, right? So A as a matrix. Right? So if a row vector is there, you take A dash will become a column vector, and so on. So this is how I have just told you about the link between saving a data and generating a data, right? And this is one of the most important links which we should understand. Otherwise, programming becomes, tasteless. So we always want appropriate calculations, right? We always want appropriate output. So whatever is required. So now if you want to make changes to this program, so you all of should write down these two commands, okay? Fid equal to fopen, opening a data file, and then fprintf command to write the data. Formats is percent. So number of floating point 16, right? I mean the width of the text size where you want to write on your data. And dot 4, this 4 denotes the number of decimal places up to which you want your answer, okay? And then f means floating point numbers, and you have other formats also, integer format, right? And so on. And slash backslash n denotes that after writing in the first line, okay, and for the second output, write second output in the next line and next line and so on. So so in the next row, go to next row. Slash n means go to the next row, and which variable is to be saved, comma, save display. So this is how you save your program. So maybe now this is the right time to give you a couple of more examples. I think how much time we have? This is up to till
Sir, 1:30. So still
okay,
we
so
have
time is almost over. So
yeah.
I will not do much calculations on this. So only so this program I have done, I think, in this lecture. And idea is, I think, that we have to understand the working procedure of for loop and the conditional statement if. Only two things we have learned via this program. In the next lecture, that we will learn more on the for commands and if or else if commands and while loop. Okay, and they will get familiar with, and we will do all this through concrete examples in mathematics. Okay. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Question is, why are we putting double equal to sign? What does it significant or signifies?
I'm not able to hear.
Sir is I can tell you, Jatinder sir. Sir is saying, okay, we have used that logical equal to na means the double equal to.
Yeah.
So someone is asking if we have two variables, suppose x equal to y, how we can use this command? Means
so, yeah, we can still use that command. We can still use that command in the same way.
Yeah.
So okay, so if command will specify everything, if x is less than or equal to, you can just specify this thing. No problem in that. But the problem will arise. So when MATLAB will not find numerical value of y. If numerical value of y and numerical value of x is mentioned before this if command, then only it will work. Okay. In other words, when you will build a function file, in function file you can define a function of two variables x and y. So when we will deal with functions, this thing will be very clear. So in the next class we will deal with functions also.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that time the things will be clear. So we can use two variables. More than two variables are also allowed.
Thank you, sir.
So you can just do it this way also. X equal to y. Then next command is or. For or, vertical 2 bars, right? Or x is equal to z. And then you have another command and. So there are so many commands. So that we will learn tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Jatinder sir. Okay, there is an announcement for the participants. I have uploaded the first video on the YouTube channel. So in case, and I will submit the next. I will submit the next video after a few minutes. So in case of any doubts, you can rewatch the videos and you can ask the Professor Jatinder sir the doubts in tomorrow's session, because Jatinder sir will again join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. So you can write down your doubts, and for the first 15 minutes he will answer only your queries.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think it will be good, because a lot of students are having certain kind of queries. So it's good that they are actually, it means they are studying well.
Yeah, I encourage to students, the participants, to ask as many questions as they can.
Yeah,
so I will try my best to answer almost all of your queries.
Yeah, you please be ready with your queries. So whenever we will start tomorrow's session, you simply post the queries, or you can message me the queries in advance. You all have my WhatsApp number. You can message me the queries, so that from the very beginning, I will ask all the queries in the tomorrow's session from the expert.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Jatendra sir. So we
Yeah,
will
thank-
see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. So
Yeah.
please connect with us at 9:55 a.m. sir.
Yeah, sure. Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Dr. Suresh.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Okay, that's it for all. At 2:55, we will again connect with the engineer Akhilesh will again rejoin at 2:55. Okay, thank you all. Please have a break for lunch. Okay, thank you very much, sir. Okay.
Thank you.